Welcome to Bootober. It's your host, Daniel Scarenberg. And over there is Slimy Polly.
That's not bad. Or maybe Peter Hankman.
Well, that's just a Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters
Right.
is barely a October movie.
There's ghosts.
I guess. You only thought of it because I mentioned slime.
That's correct.
I like bringing up slime when I talk about spooky things because I don't understand why it's spooky, but it's often included in spooky lexicons.
Did you ever have or were they were probably like discontinued by the time you were a kid. Did you have the Ghostbusters figures from the real Ghostbusters?
Yeah, I had all of them. When you'd like click the arm and he would go like "Auga." You know?
Mine didn't make noises, so I think
no, it wasn't noise, but you know what I mean. Its eyes would pop out of its head and shit.
Did you? Yeah, you had the ectoplasm, the green ectoplasm.
No. Oh, it would come in like a little thing. I don't think I ever had it, but I would play with it at friends' houses. My parents never bought me anything messy.
Oh, yeah, I did. I had everything. That shit was all from my room. Yeah, it was great.
I bet. Yeah, there were times in my life I wanted Nickelodeon Gak.
Oh, okay. Sure.
Was that affiliated with Nickelodeon? Who knows? But my parents wouldn't let me, and I would just play with them at friends' houses. And I also never had like the car, because that was too expensive.
I had the car. That was fucking awesome, man.
Oh, well, some of us grow up privileged, and some of us don't.
Well, that went away real quick. We had like 3 good years, my family, and then it was...
Oh, man. That's triple Russell Crowe's.
Nice.
Thanks, bro.
Wow, actually, I got the joke, but I had to think of the movie for a second. I was like, does he mean 3 days and 3 nights, or does he...
he had a good year. You had 3.
Right, he did have a good year, and then he had the one with Elizabeth Banks where she's his wife incarcerated, and it's called like 3 Days and 3 Nights or something.
What?
Like that.
Is it the next 3 days, that movie?
Yes. Yeah.
Isn't that Kevin Costner?
No, he's in another one, almost exactly the same title, though, I think. Yeah.
What is that? The last 3 days?
Because it's filmed in Pittsburgh, the Russell Crowe, and I remember because it filmed it around my neighborhood.
Oh, yeah, was Zachary Quinto a producer?
And Tom Savini did the makeup.
Yeah. Hey, gang. It's the 10th month of the year, so we're talking about horror movies. Today is The Strangers, as well as its belated sequel, The Strangers Pray at Night, Prey. It's not like that movie Pray for Rock and Roll with Gina Gershon.
No, not the act of praying.
You know, I thought it was that when this movie was announced. I remember I had a vision when I first heard the title of this movie that it would be them like knocking on the door of a church at midnight mass or something.
Oh, that would have been better. That would have been nice.
It would have been good, right?
Knocking off churchgoers.
Yeah. Then you'd have more people too, more cannon fodder.
Go to the Vatican. Yeah.
You want the Strangers to just go to the Vatican? Just knock on the door of the Vatican and go, "Is Tamra here?"
Is Tamra here? And then, because all the bishops and all those fucking idiots are all wearing costumes anyway, so everybody's costumed up, maybe some masks, go Eyes Wide Shut style.
Yeah.
Strangers at an Eyes Wide Shut Long Island party.
It's not bad, man. You know what I like about The Strangers? It really turns the current world on its head and makes the bad guys people that wear masks. Is that a good joke? I just thought of it. Hey, Henry, The Strangers. Let's talk about it. It came out...
Hold on.
What?
It's episode 278.
Fuck you.
A very special episode, 78 being a very important number in no other way in that I was born in the year 1978.
70s. Born back there in the 70s, Henry.
Cusp of the Gen Xers.
What are you?
Gen X, apparently. I've
Oh,
done some.
you're a young or an old Gen Xer.
No, I'm the latest possible, like someone who would be considered a Gen Xer.
Oh, good for you, Henry.
Yeah, but it's weird because like other Gen Xers are like born in the late '60s and shit. So like the Reality Bites crew,
Sure.
you know, I was like fucking 15 or 16 when those guys were like 25. So it's a little strange, but
As a
yeah.
Gen Xer, are you upset that they're going to change the cover of Nevermind?
Are they really? Because that kid sued?
Yeah.
Get out of here.
They are. They said they are. Dave Grohl said it. And hey, I trust anything Dave Grohl says.
Oh yeah, man, he's a fighter.
A fighter? What's
Yeah,
that a reference to?
he fights foos.
Oh, right, of course. I'm an idiot. Right, his hugely famous popular band, of course.
Right, all right. No.
So, Henry, let's talk about The Strangers. It came out in 2008. I did not see it. This was one that got buzz in the store, if we may talk about our years at Barnes & Noble.
Oh yeah, sure. I don't recall. I'm going to confess right here. I don't recall much of the buzz. As we know, '08 was the year we met, became friends, but that was also a fucking loaded year for movies. So I don't know that I was really paying attention.
This was buzzed heavily by the Alex Aaron contingent.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't even remember seeing this. When I watched this, I recognize certain parts of it, but I'm not sure I entirely ever sat through the whole thing when I watched. I always thought
Are you
I did.
serious?
Well, I've told you this before, and it's kind of silly, but I always confused this movie a little bit with Vacancy, which I have
That's so
seen.
crazy. It's such a bad movie and is nothing like this.
I don't think Vacancy is a terrible movie.
I gotta be honest, when I saw it in theaters,
I haven't seen it in theaters.
the light came on 20 minutes into the movie and never turned off, and it probably affected my viewing of it.
Do you think so? In a movie about a darkened motel room and smoke films? Yeah. No, I think Vacancy might get a bad rap. It's 3.
I put my
But
jacket on it at one point. This big bright light.
Oh my god. Yeah, but I don't know. No, I like certain Liv Tyler scenes seemed familiar and all that, but like I just didn't.
Maybe you've just seen her running around scared and other shit.
I know probably. I don't know. I marked it on Letterboxd as rewatched, but I'm just not even sure. So who gives a fuck? But yeah. So I don't remember the buzz. So continue. Go ahead about the buzz and the store and all that shit.
I was pretty much done with it. Everybody said watch it, so I did, and then I enjoyed it. I watched. It's a good movie. I watched it a couple times after that. Like, it's entered the horror rotation.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that. Sure.
Yeah. So it came out in theaters May 30th, 2008.
Oh, I mean, that's a terrible time. Iron Man came out that same month. You know.
Yeah, but this was alternative programming, baby. Not everybody's going to want to see well, back then we didn't know everybody was going to want to see Iron Man.
Right, yeah. And then The Dark Knight was coming out and all this other shit. So I guess I wouldn't. I just don't remember paying attention.
Well, you know, for those of us that like movies that don't involve superheroics,
that's all I like.
yeah, we checked this one out. It was written and directed by a first-timer by the name of Brian Bertino.
Yeah. Yeah.
Familiar with that guy?
I am now, yeah. And since I have another page pulled up, as you know, I would like to look up his filmography because I already know I've seen a few of his movies, but you can do that for me. What else did he do now?
Well, all right. He was a new guy. He'd only written a couple of screenplays that never got produced. He entered this into a screenwriting contest. It was called The Faces at that point. And Universal actually purchased the film and fast-tracked it into a big-budget production before deciding to lower the budget and pass it off to their horror arm, Rogue Pictures.
Yeah, and they made it for what, $5 million or $8 million?
$9 million.
Yeah.
Pretty low. So Bertino goes on to make a film called Mockingbird that tanked. Nobody fucking gave a shit. But he was able to resurrect his career with this one, The Monster, which was sort of an indie hit that year.
That's mine. That's my movie. That's
you
the one
love that movie.
I love it.
I recently watched it on Henry's recommendation. Did not care for it, but you know, I can see why you liked it. It's got good atmosphere. The Monster, I don't know. The Monster design's not that good, and Zoe Kazan's the lead.
I love the mother-daughter thing going on there. That dynamic was very cool to me. I actually like the monster design. You don't really ever see it that clearly. I love the rainy fucking road stuck in a car. I think it's very artfully done. I love that movie, and I watched it on a whim. I knew nothing about it, and it was just kind of one of those little surprise things where I turn on and I'm like, oh, this is fucking great. So I know it's not a great movie, but I think it's a great movie. I know a lot of people don't.
You gave it a 5. Oh, hey, a lot of people do think that's a great movie. You're not alone there.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right.
All right, so he followed that up with the Dark and the Wicked. Have you seen this one?
Yes, I have. That's also excellent.
Oh, look at you. You're a fan of this fellow.
Yeah, it's not as good as The Monster, but I like the Dark and the Wicked as well. I saw that not too long ago.
The only film he's written that he has not directed himself is actually The Strangers Pray at Night, which we'll get to a little later. Like I said, Universal buys it. They try to stick a big-name director on the project. They first hand it to Justin fucking Lin.
Your boy.
All right? Coming off of Tokyo Drift. All right? But ultimately, he opts to do Fast and Furious 4, and thank the Lord for that. Thank the good Lord in heaven, God himself, for Fast and Furious.
Well, you know what's funny is in The Strangers, there is drift.
What do you mean?
Well, there are a lot of cars, and they're floating, kind of rolling without gas. I think there's some drift.
What do you?
About it.
But Henry, what's drift?
You don't know. I can't explain to you.
What, Henry? Henry, what's drift? What's drift? All right, Lucas Black, of course.
There you go.
All right, so Lynn passes, and then they give it to Mark Romanek, no stranger to horror. Stranger to horror. Yeah.
Nice.
He did that 1 hour photo with Robin Williams. Very good movie, I'd say. And all right, so then once Rogue Pictures gets a hold of it, they're like, this is like a tiny little horror movie. What are they doing messing with Justin Lin for?
Right.
We're going to give you $9 million. Just go direct it yourself. Bertino's like, great, I'm in.
Sure. Yeah.
All right. So it comes out May 30th, 2008, like I said, on the budget of $9 million. It makes $82.4 million at the box office. It's a certified hit. Came in at number 55 at the American box office. Made slightly less than Saw 5 and slightly more than The Forbidden Kingdom, which was a Jackie Chan Jet Li team-up that I believe did better overseas.
Probably.
Yeah. All right. This film was well received by critics for the most part and nominated for a couple of awards, including the Best Horror Film Award at the Saturns.
I had a feeling you were going to say that.
Oh, I thought that meant you were ready.
Supposed to be.
Saturn is between Uranus and Neptune. Saturn Awards, sci-fi best of films.
Yeah, Saturn Awards. The only genre awards we care about. They nominated this for Best Horror Film, and it probably should have won, to be honest. I'm looking at the nominees right now. The eventual winner was Hellboy 2, The Golden Army, which, as far as I'm concerned, is not a horror film. It's totally a fantasy film.
It's a superhero film too, right? I mean,
Yeah.
he's a fucking comic book character.
Yeah, I know, but they nominate these superhero films and whatever.
yeah,
Hey,
right.
Iron Man won Best Science Fiction Film that year.
Sure, sci-fi.
All right, so, but look at the piss poor nominees that year. 2008 must have been a dead zone for horror.
That's weird to think that. Okay, I get.
But it
yeah.
was, remember? Like, the popular ones were all, like, the remake bullshit and the torture porn stuff. And the critics all hated all that stuff.
Very true. Those were the Hostel and Saw years.
Yeah. So this is, these were the nominees. Hellboy 2 won. The Strangers was nominated. The other nominees were Splinter, which I don't even know about.
Splint?
Yeah.
Okay.
Quarantine.
That's good.
It's not good. I recently watched that.
I like that. I think that's a good movie.
It's a found footage fucking virus movie.
I think it's good. Yeah.
All right. The Mummy, Tomb of the Dragon Emperor, which is so not a horror film.
Did that even come out in theaters?
Yeah, it did. I saw it on my birthday, that fateful night of that party.
The party at Aaron's house.
Yeah. The one I
Really?
left, the one people left in disgrace from. And the final nominee was M. Night Shyamalan's The Happening.
Oh, well, that I saw in theaters. Yeah. That was great.
So I think maybe The Strangers should have won the Saturn Award for Best Horror Movie.
I say Strangers or Quarantine.
Here's another wrinkle. The winner for Best International Film that year, which I guess wasn't eligible for the non-international category, was Let the Right One In.
Just going to say, that's that year.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
All right.
that's the best horror movie of that year then.
I hope you enjoyed that episode of Award Bros.
Absolutely. Tune in for more. Pay $5.
Yeah, patreon.com/the franchise. Welcome to our new patrons. We have the Teen Choice Awards also chose to recognize this film, probably because they had some heartthrobs in the cast.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right.
It's the Teen Choice Award.
All right, so Teen Choice Awards, their nominees go from like July to July, so the years might sound weird here. So Best Horror Movie, it lost to I Am Legend.
Not really a horror movie, but okay.
You can see why they would put it there. It's fine.
Yeah, it's an action movie. I didn't hate that movie like the rest of the world.
I did. Scott Speedman. All right. Maybe this should be my new thing. You know how I say like Spider-Man?
Yeah.
Maybe my thing should be when a guy has his last name has man in it, I say the man. Speedman.
You're right. You do the opposite.
Yeah, I just realized I do that.
You flip it.
All right, so you said he was better than you thought?
Ah.
Why did you not think Scott Speedman would be good?
I don't know, because first of all, it's Scott Speedman. I don't know what I knew him from. I wasn't expecting much.
He's a franchise stalwart.
Is he? What's he in?
He's in all those Underworld movies.
Haven't seen him.
Oh, bummer. We got to cover those eventually. Ugh.
Of course, yeah. I don't know. I just didn't, I'm going to go on record saying I think the actors in the second movie are much better than the actors in the first movie.
I disagree completely.
Okay.
I fully and wholeheartedly disagree.
Sometimes that might be the most frequent thing you and I don't really see eye to eye on.
Acting?
Yeah, it's like we're consistent on a lot of other things. Sometimes the way we view actors is just sometimes we don't fall on the same page.
Well, look, to be honest, Speedman is a bit of a ringer for me.
Meaning,
he is one of the lead actors on the WB television series Felicity. All right. He played Mr. Ben Covington, my favorite character on the show.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So if Scott Speedman shows up in something, I'm all in, baby.
You like it. You like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
He's
get
had a good career, though. He was on that show Southland for a long time.
it. Okay. I got nothing against him.
Yeah. I don't know. I was put immediately on the defensive by
Not at all. I opened it by saying I thought he was good.
I know. To be honest, there's a couple of dudes in the Discord watching Felicity, and they've been like writing about it, and they hate this guy, and it upsets me. So I feel like I have to over defend Scott Speedman.
Oh, well, that's nice.
He deserves a Kerry Russell style career, as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, all right. I always confuse Scott Speedman with Jeff Speakman.
I don't know who's that.
That's The Perfect Weapon, sir.
What's The Perfect Weapon?
Oh, that was just a movie I loved when I was a kid. He was going to be the next Steven Seagal.
Really? He was like a white guy martial artist?
Yeah, if I recall, he wore a brown leather jacket and blue jeans, and he was look it up, Perfect Weapon.
That sounds great.
Jeff Speakman, and that was a big deal when I was a kid. I think it was like 1990, 91. And
look at this guy, The Perfect Weapon. He's an expert in Kenpo karate, and he avenges his Koreatown friend slain by a mobster in Los Angeles.
Are you on Letterboxd?
No, on IMDb. Do you want me to go on Letterboxd?
I rated it. Probably not.
I hope you did.
Probably. I forgot about it, I'm sure. There's nothing to lead me in there like I use.
No, you haven't rated it, but a couple people have.
What are the ratings like?
Well, someone gave it a 3.5. It's got an average of a 2.9. That's not bad.
I liked it when I was a kid. I'd probably just to rate it, I'd put it at a 3.
This Speakman guy, he's got a lot. He was in tons of movies.
They're probably all VOD. That was his big one.
Yeah, that was like his chance.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he was like rugged.
No, look, he had 2 more. He had 2 more after that, and then they gave up on him.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Street Night and The Expert.
Yeah, I don't know this.
All right. Anyway, Speakman. I'll have to look into that guy. Speakman's Closet.
The Perfect Weapon.
He is. Was he perfect?
I don't know. As a kid, I wanted to dress like him. That's all I remember. I liked the jacket and the jeans. I was like, that's cool.
You do dress in a jacket and jeans, Henry. Are you still trying to dress like The Perfect Weapon?
Jeff Speakman. Yeah, but I don't have. But I'm like black leather and gray or black jeans. I don't wear. Well, I do have blue jeans, but
that's true though. You are partial to a gray.
Yeah, and my Ken Po is very rusty.
Okay. So Scott Speedman lost to Mr. Will Smith, of course, for the Teen Choice Award. And Liv Tyler, she failed to complete her namesake in this film. And she died, didn't live. Then she lost to Jessica Alba.
From what?
Oh, she was in this movie, The Eye. I think it was like a Japanese horror remake.
Yeah, I remember that shit.
We were still doing that shit in the 2000s, too.
Yeah, giving these stars like one horror movie chance.
That's not even what I was talking about. That's true, too. But like Sarah Michelle Gellar and The Grudge and shit.
Yeah. At least she had a history. You know, she had the right to do that stuff.
Because of Buffy?
Yeah, and just, I know what you did last summer.
Oh, that's true. She's a bit of a scream queen.
She is a scream queen. You look her up on fucking Wiki or IMDb, and that's what it says. Maybe unfairly, but it says it's like the first thing they say.
Yeah, all right. And hey, they just announced the new Cruel Intentions TV show. They keep trying those.
I don't need that.
Okay. Henry's out on the Cruel Intentions TV show. The movie's
great, and I'm good with the movie. The movie's fucking perfect.
Perfect. You wouldn't change a thing about Cruel Intentions.
Maybe.
All right. I'd get Christine Baranski naked for one.
Ugh. Okay. Have fun with that.
Thanks, bro. All right, let's talk about it. Strangers Things. No, that's more like the second one. If I really wanted to talk shit about the second one, I would call it Strangers Things.
That's not nice. Well, first of all, Yeah. Oh, well, I guess we'll talk about it when we get there. But the 10-year gap thing, but that doesn't matter right now. All right. So, yeah. So I dug this movie. I was I didn't really love it as much as I either remembered or thought that I would, but it's still very good. But I think that's also just part that in 2008, this type of thing, whilst having been done numero times in the 70s and 80s, hadn't been that much done in like a stylish aughts way, and so it was kind of a newer thing. Now it's like fucking just old hand.
I think it was overrated at the time just because horror was so bad, and like one came out that took it seriously and was good. I feel the same way about a lot of those Ty West movies from the time. But we were just so excited something was happening in horror.
Ty West, I know that name because I've seen his movies.
Well, his best one's House of the Devil, but he was like ridiculously prolific.
Right. I've seen other things. I think did he participate in the VHS or
yeah,
the Rex?
I believe so.
Yeah.
He's also acted in some Chicago mumblecore movies.
Oh, that's great. My favorite genre.
My favorite genre.
I know it is. Yeah, you like any age group mumblecore, man.
Give me that mumblecore, baby. I want to see mumbles on screen.
Give me Francis McD in a fucking trailer park going. You're all in, baby.
That's not mumblecore.
That's senior mumblecore, baby.
I wouldn't call that movie mumblecore. Mumblecore is like the Duplessis, Andrew Bujalski, Lynn Shelton.
I don't even think of Lynn Shelton or the Duplessis as mumblecore, man.
You're a nut job then. Then you don't know what mumblecore is. The Duplass brothers were pioneers of mumblecore.
Fine, but Greta Gerwig's mumblecore.
Yeah, she took it and ran with it, baby. Well, Greta Gerwig got her start with Joe Swanberg, who was a mumblecore guy in Chicago. He made Nights and Weekends and Happy Christmas and shit like that.
Yeah, I like all those guys. I just didn't like Nomadland, but whatever.
Well, I think you're fine. I don't think that's mumblecore.
Yeah, I like
excited for the Eternals?
Not really.
Yeah, me neither. All right, Strangers.
I'm not excited for Marvel movies unless it's like going to be somebody I gave a shit about. I don't know.
I wouldn't say I'm ever excited, but I want to see them all. Like, I want to see that Shang-Chi movie.
Me too. I mean, I'm excited when it's something that like Captain Marvel. I remember being excited for because I like Brie Larson. It was going to be like the first big female superhero movie. That was going to be cool. I was digging that.
Well, first female superhero Marvel movie. Wonder Woman had come out.
Wonder Woman was great, and Black Panther. I was excited for that, but characters that are intriguing to me, but I don't know anything about. I like that. But if the Eternals, I don't know.
Yeah,
whatever,
you're going to be so into that Moon Knight show. You're going to love that character. Yeah.
I'm actually looking forward to, and I think there's only one I'm really looking forward to
What's
be
that?
honest, even though. I will watch Hawkeye, that one, whatever the hell, but it's She-Hulk. I'm very much looking forward to She-Hulk.
Why not Moon Knight?
I'll watch it. I don't know anything about him. I know that you every single issue of Moon Knight when he started, right?
Yeah, I love that comic. She-Hulk, I'm excited about too. Tatiana Maslany is an incredible actor, and that's a really good character. And they have some really solid comics to work off of. And it kind of lends itself to being a procedural, so I sort of wish it was just like on a network. But I would love it if they did lawyer stuff because she's a lawyer.
Well, they might.
Yeah, but Moon Knight, I think you're going to particularly dig because he's street level and dark and gritty, and you love it. He's like Daredevil. They belong in the same sort of stories. And
isn't Moon Knight supernatural? I thought he had powers.
He is, but so does Daredevil. Fuck off.
Oh.
It's that kind of powers.
All right. I mean, I never think of Daredevil as having real power.
Do you know who's in the fucking Moon Knight show? That's why I'm excited about it.
I didn't really look into that. I looked into She-Hulk. Yeah.
They got Oscar Isaac playing Moon Knight, and
that's That's right.
And they got Ethan Hawke in there too.
That's cool. Yeah, no, I'll definitely watch that.
All right, why are we talking about fucking Marvel? Marvel's inescapable. Strangers. It starts with a based on true events narration. Just homage to Texas Chainsaw.
Yeah, not necessary, but that's okay.
Yeah.
It's like saying that about this movie, like putting that title card before this movie is like putting a title card before like a cop drama and just be like based on true events. And then someone gets arrested and you're like, that probably did happen. Yeah. Like I'm watching this movie, I'm like, yeah, sure, there's home invasions. I'm sure. That,
I mean, it's bullshit. It didn't happen though, the way it said. Like I read what Brian Bertino was influenced to write this, like something that happened to him as a kid and shit. But like, it had nothing to do with his family wasn't murdered by people.
No, exactly. Yeah, in masks. Yeah. So go ahead. So it starts. What did you think of the setup of them not revealing what they were fighting about? This couple's coming home from a wedding, and
I liked it. It's sort of.
I did too.
It's mumblecore. And it's February 11th, 2005. They say so. I'm immediately thinking about what I'm doing February 11th, 2005, and I gotta be honest. I had a first date February 4th, 2005. Because it was like a mind-blowing first date. I ended up being with that girl for a really long time. It was like my first important relationship. So February 11th, 2005, I must have been on cloud nine, Henry, planning our second date. Talking to her. We're IMing at night.
Wow, 2005, sure.
Mm-hmm.
I was planning and searching for a job in New York and getting ready to move. So that was an incredibly stressful period for me, February 2005.
Was it as stressful as as for Kristen McKay and James Hoyt, our two leads?
I mean, I had just gotten Eddie.
Well, he was a stressful cat.
Nah, he was when we lived with us, but he didn't do all that urinating stuff.
Have we talked about that? We had a chair in our living room.
My sweet little dear departed.
Yeah, and
loved Dan.
I loved him. And we would have to turn the chair over on its side before going to bed every single night, or else Eddie would pee on it. And Henry and I were both drunks at this time, and so we would often forget to turn the fucking chair over.
Yeah, it was rough. Poor Eddie. I moved so many times, and he started that when on like my third or fourth move in New York. He started that stuff, and I think that was his way of just saying like, buddy, I'm fucking sick of all this stuff. I know that's what he was doing.
Yeah,
you know. So,
did he cool it with that once he moved back with your parents, once they were taking care of him and shit?
Yeah, when I moved in with Kim.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, he came with me, and he moved with my folks, and he stopped
immediately.
Never once, never one accident.
Wow, he needed a home base. He needed your mom. Your mom was so good to that fucking cat.
Yeah, exactly. So,
all right, let's talk about it. All right, so they are driving home from a wedding, not to a home, but to Scott Speedman's family's sort of summer cabin, I guess.
I think his dad, he like a lifelong summer cabin his family owned, his dad owned, or whatever. I like that we do not know what the fight is about. I think a lesser movie would fucking explain all that shit at length, and I kind of guessed what it was pretty quick, which I was happy about too. Like,
what was it?
What gives you? Well, he proposed to her, and she said no.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't trying to guess. Like, I wasn't interested.
I wasn't either, but like it just kind of dawned on me. I was like, oh, that's what must have happened. But what I really liked is that they don't tell you why she said no. She just, it's a normal thing. Guys do get rejected from proposals to women that they're actually really in love with, and they're both in love with each other, and she just wasn't ready. And I like that. It was a very unusual thing. It wasn't like there was like a miscarriage or there was some massive problem. You know what I mean? Nobody cheated on each other. You know what I mean? Like, I like that it was just like a very simple.
Yeah, the movie's 85 minutes long. It's got basically no fat on it. And so they don't really enter into the dramatics of their relationship. We are introduced to them as characters who are in a fraught relationship where there is current tension, and we're fine with that. And then, like, we enter into the plot. They are, thrown into this situation where they get a knock on the door, and it's this girl, and terror ensues. All right, so did they break up at the wedding? I was wondering that.
It seems like in the car on the way home or something like that, yeah. Or if
but did the engagement happen at, did he try that shit at the wedding?
Yeah, I don't know. Probably because he comes back from the bar in that flashback, and he's kind of like all nervous and shit, and she's laughing and smiling with her friends, and he like.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah, he's preparing.
Which, honestly, it's not probably a great move to propose in front of a bunch of people. Just in case it goes south.
I also think you shouldn't propose at somebody else's wedding. It steals thunder.
Totally true. Very rude. Couldn't agree more.
Listen, Speedman, you approached this poorly.
Yeah,
At least wait till you're back at the cabin. Light a fire. It'd be nice.
The thing is he's got it all set up beautifully. He had rose petals all over the house. He had candles ready. He had a bath ready. I mean, propose then.
You think that's beautiful? I think this motherfucker prepares for sex like he's Tommy Wiseau in the room. You are my rose, you are my rose.
Right, yeah. First of all, it's way too much trouble what he does. I can't say I would do half of that stuff.
I don't think we even got to the Luther Vandross that he definitely had playing on his Discman or whatever. 6 CD Turner or whatever he had.
It was a vinyl. He had a vinyl record, man.
Oh, you're right. You're right. All right. There's a lot of downbeat music, and on the way home, they're listening to some like folk of the time, some sad folk. And then when he runs out later, she's listening to Joanna Newsom.
Yeah, I caught that.
That's good. Yeah. That's good to play right before you die. Yeah. Play like a harp from hell.
It's it's funny because I was thinking about when we do this show for this particular movie and the next one. It's like there's not much to talk about in terms of like plot. I mean, we could just go through each scare. I mean, it would be fucking tedious, but I mean, you know what I mean? So it's like an overarching thing, really. I mean, right? We have
it's atmospherics.
Yeah, it's atmospherics. You got Glenn Howerton coming in.
Oh well, we'll get to that shit. Hey, I mean, right off the bat, because I've got some notes. You get Liv Tyler smoking cigarettes, and I've been talking about this a lot on our Comp Beast show because we're talking about early Big Brother on that show on the Patreon, and they're smoking cigarettes in the backyard constantly, like all of them, just chain smoking. Yeah. And so it's so odd to go back. Like, this is 2008. I feel like now you would not have a lead in a horror movie smoking a cigarette. You just wouldn't.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, but millions and millions of people still smoke.
But you don't see it in movies anymore. They've made a deal, like, with that they don't really show cigarettes in movies.
Well, that's true because ever since I saw historical smoking in the Magnificent
Seven, historical smoking.
However, in 2018, Pray at Night, they're smoking cigarettes in that.
Yeah, because they're going for an 80s aesthetic for no reason.
Why are you rolling your eyes at Pray at Night?
It went down a tad in my estimation on a rewatch. Yeah.
Stayed the same with me. I watched it in July 2020. I checked Letterboxd. That's what it's.
Oh, that was very recent. I watched it in 2018 when it came out.
It's cool to check when that was that I saw it. But yeah, okay. Anyway, Yeah, so he goes out for cigs. Big mistake.
Big mistake.
Big mistake. They do things that the typical horror things you don't want to do. They separate like 12 times.
Yeah, but they're separated. To me, it makes sense. They're not in sync. You know, they just had this horrible breakup.
But I think in any situation, if that weirdo shit was happening, you'd put that shit aside.
No,
man.
but they do put that shit aside. I just think that inherently they're out of sync. They're just not on the same page right now.
Right.
All right, so yeah, he goes out. Or no, they get the knock on the door first. The first knock on the door. It's 14 minutes into the movie. You know, they waste no time. And it's a girl. There's no porch light, which bothered me. Why don't they turn on the porch light?
She turned it off.
The girl?
Yeah, she unscrewed the bulb.
Oh, that's what they do. They take out the porch lights.
They just unscrew it because then he goes back out and he's like, oh, and he turns it and it turns on.
Look at you. Oh, that's right. I forgot that part.
Do it in the second one, too. Yeah.
Yeah, fuck. All right, I got that wrong. All right.
Okay.
Anyway, it's at 4 a.m., which troubles me.
In the middle of nowhere, and there's a girl wandering around. It's implied there's not a house within miles, so I feel like they're not worried enough.
4 a.m., though, is such a perilous time to do this, I think. A, you're not going to find many people that are awake. It's going to be people getting up from bed. B, it's so close to the sun coming up.
Yeah, it's true. Oh, perilous time for the strangers to do their little game.
Yeah, that's right. Like I'm thinking as someone who wants the strangers to get away with their classic game, and
do it at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning at least. Give yourself.
That's
some
what I'm. I noticed when they knock on the door in the second one, it's merely 10 p.m. Henry.
That's a decent time to terrorize.
I think that's too early. I think these fuckers suck at this.
They're not great at aiming for when people are asleep.
Go for 1 or 2 in the morning. People might still be awake from like partying, and clearly they're doing this on a weekend because it's a wedding night. Okay,
right.
And I just think, I think they're going about this all wrong. You got to do it at 1 or 2.
Well, one of don't talk to each. They don't talk, so maybe they don't really talk out the plans very much. Well, the strangers don't really speak to each other. The women talk, doll face and pinup girl, as they're referred to. But Masked Man doesn't seem to speak, so the planning might be complicated.
We're not privy to the planning. You think these people aren't talking to each other like before this?
I think they're not. I think there's nothing happening. I think they'd look at each other and they get in the car and he just drives and then that's going. Well, here's a question.
I think you're crazy. I think they're hicks.
Yeah, I know. I agree. What do you think is the relation between these people? You think they're swingers?
No. First of all, I've honestly never considered it until right this second. I don't care.
Brother, sister.
No, I would think they're 3 people.
Unrelated.
Yeah, like maybe the girls met in prison or something. I don't know.
And juvie.
Yeah.
It's totally immaterial. It's good that you don't know in the movie. That's part of the point. You don't want to know. And I like the decision to not see their faces and letting Liv and Scott see their faces.
Did you know that was changed? You read that on the Wikipedia page? They originally shot a whole ending where they take their masks off and like clean up the house and start walking around in their clothes and shit, apparently. But they cut it.
I don't need to see that. But I wouldn't. I mean, if they showed their faces, I wouldn't have cared. I wouldn't have thought it detracted from the movie.
But what would it add? It would be just like in Halloween where it's like, all right, it's a guy.
Yeah, but that's why that moment in Halloween is so shocking.
Yeah, I know, but you can't do it again years later. Hey, this one's different because it's 3 people.
It's a very different film, I think, in certain ways, in many ways. But yeah, I mean, I
think it's actually a very similar film in many ways.
Yeah, it is. But there's 3.
Yeah, there are three.
There's three, dude.
That means some can do something and some can do another thing, like knock on a door and then Liv Tyler. Oh, that's the famous shot that they even made the poster, right? Liv Tyler creeping around the house with that guy standing in the background. It's easily the best shot in the movie.
So, I had a bit of a dilemma. I like Liv Tyler, and I like her in certain movies, and sometimes I have difficulty with her acting, and I just... What did you think of her in this? Did you think she was, like, what do you think?
I think she brings it in this one.
Yeah.
I think she's not as good as Speedman, but...
I don't either. That's what I think. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a better actor than she is. Liv Tyler, listen, she's in the business because of nepotism, let's be honest. She got thrown in that Aerosmith music video because her daddy felt bad that, he had this kid he didn't know about all that time. And he was put off by how sexy she was, so he made her a sex symbol. And so... or maybe he wasn't put off. I don't know how he thinks about that. Liv Tyler, so she like, transitioned into acting, and, like, it was weird. All these, like, old art film guys started using her. Bertolucci put her in Sterling Beauty. And
remember that. That might have been her first thing.
Yeah, around the same time she did Empire Records and she did Inventing the Abbotts. And in a lot of those movies, she's sort of portrayed as just this, like, enigmatic young hot lady.
Correct.
And that's fine. She can do that because she is enigmatic and hot.
Yeah.
As she got older, she sort of started having to put a little more into her acting, and she had a tough time with that. You watch her in something like Kevin Smith's Jersey Girl, which has its issues already, and she's very tough to take in that role.
Yeah.
And you watch her in The Leftovers, which is, in my opinion, one of the best TV shows ever. And
I don't even fucking remember her in that show.
She's a lot in the first season, less later on because she joins the GR, the Guilty Remnant. So I do think she's out of her depth in that show.
Yeah.
She doesn't even have a lot of dialogue because she's silent, and she still seems out of her depth.
Yeah, but she's also she's acting next to, like, who is it? Anne, who do we love? Who's
Ann Dowd?
Ann Dowd, Carrie Coon.
Yeah, of course.
Even that tatted dude, what's his face? Justin
Theroux.
Yeah.
That tatted dude. That's how you think of him?
I couldn't remember. Yeah.
Is it because of Charlie's Angels Full Throttle that you think of him as the tatted dude?
Even though I've seen him in, like, a million things, I couldn't pull his name up.
Yeah. But I think she holds her own in this one. Look, it's her and Ben from Felicity in a horror movie. Like, she's fine.
Yeah.
All right, so she puts on Joanna Newsom and hangs out in the house while he goes out to get cigarettes. They show back up. He comes back, and she says, he starts... I had a problem with this part of the movie, Henry.
All right.
Because he tells her that it's so quiet out, you can't even hear a dog. Do you remember this line?
Yeah, he does say that. Right.
But all through the movie, they've been piping in, like, sound effects, like, just to, like, add background sound effects.
Right.
So you hear, like, trees rustling and shit like that.
Right.
You totally hear dogs barking.
Right, you do. And I wasn't sure, there was a couple of moments where I wasn't sure if that was just the strangers, like, trying to make noises to freak them out. I couldn't tell. I mean, it sounds like a dog, obviously, but I was like, maybe they're just fucking around. I don't know what these people have.
It's just sound so that they're not sitting in silence in the movie.
So he says it and then you can...
I just think somebody fucked up. Like, the sound designer ignored that line or something. The director needed to spot that, as far as I'm concerned. Spot, like a dog.
It's an odd line to say anyway.
I agree.
That's a strange
Just cut
thing.
the line out.
Why would you, say you can't even hear a dog? First of all, you'd probably say you can't even hear crickets. that would be more of a thing you'd say in the middle of nowhere. I mean, why would you expect to hear a dog howling? I don't know.
Maybe he's trying to say, like, there's no house anywhere around. Like, it would be too far to even hear a dog barking. A neighbor's dog.
A lot of credit. Yeah.
All right. Anyway. Yeah, you want to talk about Glenn Howerton? That's my favorite part of the movie. So,
yeah. Loved your review. It was great.
Thank you. Glenn Howerton, of course, plays Dennis on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. And these days he's on AP Bio on Peacock, one of the best comedies currently going, in my opinion. And he shows up in this movie. So Speedman calls him at the beginning of the movie saying, like, bro, hey, best friend. You know,
didn't work out.
It is rough up here. Shit is uncomfortable as fuck. I gotta get out of here, dude. Just like as soon as you can, come up here. I'm hopping in the car. We're out of here. I have to go. I'm leaving this lady. So Howerton, we don't hear from him. We just, that phone call happens, and then like an hour into the movie, all of a sudden fucking Glenn Howerton shows up in the midst of them getting attacked by these fuckers.
I think that's actually one of the best scenes in the movie, because that adds, like, I think you need a little change up.
Yeah.
And bringing a third person into the scenario to witness it and walk in and then kind of get to see what's going on from another perspective.
But he dies instantly. I love that too. Just like someone comes in who's unfamiliar with the situation and just cannot adapt to it fast enough.
Correct. Yeah. And then Speedman thinks he's one of the strangers and blows his head off. Yeah.
With a fucking shotgun, just kills his best friend. His best friend drives all the way from the fucking city to pick up this guy at a wedding after his breakup. Doesn't even wait until morning. Shows up at like 5 in the morning or whenever this is.
Yeah, that's a crazy friend right there.
Yeah, and gets a bullet in the brain for his troubles. That's how I want to go out, Henry.
Well, your review said that's how you'd want. Oh, you'd want to go out and then. So okay. So
I want to go out like Glenn Howerton, leaving the best friend with a lifetime of guilt and regret.
I'm assuming you're speaking about Nathaniel Safran.
Anybody. I believe I would love to do that to you as well, Henry. It would affect you more. I feel like Nathaniel could get over it after a couple years.
Yeah, I don't think I would deal with that well.
No, it would ruin your life.
I'd be in a straitjacket forever. Yeah, that'd be the end. I'd be into that.
Oh, I would love to do it.
Thanks so much. What a wonderful guy you are.
I know. Okay. Yeah. My favorite part, by the way, about that whole setup when they're like trying to hide and like gathering weapons and shit is he doesn't know how to load the gun at first.
I like that.
And Liv Tyler goes, I thought you went hunting with your dad as a kid. Yes. And he goes, no, I never did. It was just something I said.
That was a great
That
moment.
Is such a great, honest relationship moment in the midst of this movie.
Yeah, it is. And it's totally something a guy might say.
It's a thing I've done in every relationship I've ever been in. Of course, you exaggerate at the beginning.
Oh, that.
No, not hunting, just like something. Yeah.
Absolutely. Me too. But I like the fact that he just didn't know how to load it. Like, that was just a cool, like, moment.
I fucking wouldn't either.
Neither would I, and I'm not unproud of that. But I also did like, and they don't do this in the second movie, but it makes a little more sense in the second movie to not do this. But I also like that he actually does overcome a little bit of a trope that I never understand in horror movies, is when they get the shotgun and they get like the rounds, he grabs like a shit ton of them. And like you never see that. Like they always grab like 2. And as like if you're like an idiot audience member and you're really invested, you're like, you gotta get more than 1 bullet, man. And he's like, he grabs a bunch, and like it's like, yeah, that makes sense. That's what you do.
Yeah, it makes sense for Steven Seagal to grab 2 bullets because like we have to believe that Mason Storm only needs like 1 shot to kill somebody. Yeah.
Yeah.
This
But
is
if-
like some rich brat in his parents' cabin.
He's gonna miss with a shotgun.
Yeah.
Uh,
His name is James Hoyt. That's how I know he's rich.
wait, yeah.
I
that's,
don't feel that the screenwriter would name a poor character James Hoyt.
That's a Dutch name.
Is it?
Yeah. I think so. Hoyt. Yeah.
People in the Netherlands are named that.
Yeah, Hoyt.
All right. Now, it sort of goes on like that for a while. They go outside a few times, come back in. They're getting chased.
It's a I think one of the things you're always looking for, I know, is in some reviews of not just this movie but a lot of movies, is do they make decisions that you think are apropos to the situation, appropriate rather to the situation, like
I think more about the character. Like I hear people say that a lot. Like they want people to make decisions that are appropriate to a situation, but
I don't know the characters in this movie that well that we can be assessing their
but I can justify things in my head by saying like, well, it's these specific people, whereas some movie reviewers like cannot get past.
That's annoying. Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, I agree with you. I just don't know in this movie if you get quite enough insight into what. So yeah, I don't know. So yeah, they go in and out of the house. They go. I mean, I get it. How the house is home base. I mean,
yeah, it's a one location movie.
I mean, where are you going to go? There's really nowhere to go. They fuck up his car, which was a nice touch, and you figure that's going to happen.
Yeah, I like that.
I thought it was a cool idea, because they don't do this much in horror movies. Was terrorizing them by many times having an opportunity to just kill them, and they don't do it. Like,
yeah, I like that they do shit like steal her phone, like petty bullshit like that.
Petty shit, and like when he's in the car, I think there's a moment where one of the female strangers is she's just looking at him. She's like an inch away from his face.
Yeah,
and she just not yet. And it's like that seems to happen a lot, and I don't see that a lot. Usually in these movies,
I think it's the kind of thing where they know they have them. Like, there's never a point in the movie that the strangers aren't confident that they're going to kill these two.
Right? Yeah, it's true. I will say the movie did remind me. I'm sure I'm not alone in this, but the premise did remind me of Funny Games.
Oh, of course. Yeah, I mean, these sorts of random home invasion movies are a dime a dozen. But, like...
No, they're usually home invasions with a reason. There's always some weirdo reason behind it. Like there's actually jewels in the safe or some shit like that, or there's a revenge plot.
I guess you're right. Even Caché, which Haneke did, also has that sort of like oblique explanation involving that guy. But yeah, I guess you're right. It's most like Funny Games because it's just a random person's house. And I'll say I prefer both Funny Games movies to those. But
yeah, of course, me too.
Yeah, it's just those are higher minded. I have something more to say about the the human condition.
Right. I agree. Yeah.
But the denouement of this film, everything it's leading towards is why are you doing this to us? Because you were home.
Yeah.
Like, that's the big line. Like,
yeah, very scary.
Yeah.
And, I like that Speedman kind of gets taken out for a while. Like, he's out there in the woods with the shotgun, and then, like, the man just comes up behind him and incapacitates him, and he's just gone for a while. And then he's just dragged in, and that's when, they tie them up and basically stab them and...
Yeah, and
they
then
take their masks off first. Yeah,
and then there's that epilogue, right, with the like Christian missionary kids.
Yeah.
That's a weird thing. I'm not sure how I feel about that.
Are you sinners? And she's like, sometimes. The only reason it makes any sense is because they include that other line where the one girl says to the other girl, she goes, "It'll be easier next time."
Oh, yeah, that's right. See, they do talk to each other.
The girls always talk, but the guy never speaks. Yeah.
But you think the guy is incapable of speech?
I'm kidding.
Oh, okay. I'm not sure.
Right. That was my dry. Yeah. No. I'm just saying it'd be funny if that was a scenario where they just did all of it like with, no planning or anything.
It would be great. It would be great because you think that dude's the ringleader, but it would be so funny if in one of these movies they unmasked him and it was just fucking Sloth from the Goonies.
Right. I mean, you don't know. And so it's a weird moment because it almost gives a different. Well, it could, depending on how you interpret it. I mean, definitely can give the movie a different take. Like one of.
Yeah. What?
I know.
Just we gotta keep going. Go.
Gotten it. Sorry. Like one of them was upset by the thing. I mean, why else would the girl say that? Like, don't worry, it'll get easier next time. I mean, that lends itself a different tone.
Yeah, I mean, but I don't think that we're meant to know what that means. I think it's just sort of,
it's an odd line.
Yeah, but I think it's an enigmatic line that's supposed to like get us thinking and looking forward to a potential sequel.
But either way you look at it, it's an interesting line to throw in there, and
it's cool. I like shit like that. I like opening up mysteries and that don't need to be closed.
Yep.
That's why Lost is one of my favorite fucking shows ever.
Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah, solid flick.
Solid flick. What do you give it?
I was on the fence with this one. It's like I feel like it's probably a 3-star movie.
Yeah,
really it. But like, I just kind of want to give it a 4.
You can have it if you want. I think it's a 3. I like the movie a lot. I've watched it a few times, but I see it as a 3.
Yeah. I'm hedging. All
right.
I usually commit. I'll give it a 4. If it came out today, I'd probably give it a 4. And I think I don't want to put my biases on.
If it came out today, you would give it a 5. You give everything too much now.
Yeah, and I think a 3 and your 3 is different than my 3s. I think you think a 3 is like a good movie. I think a 3 is more like adequate. So I'm gonna give it a 4. 4. Yeah.
I'll stick with 3. I mean, there's not much you can do for MVP, LVP. Is it MVP Speedman, LVP Live?
It is tough.
I think that's all you can do.
I didn't want to do that because Liv, she's trying. She does a decent job. But if I guess
LVP's not Glenn Howerton, it's the best part of the movie.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're like flipping who's balanced against each other, then he is the MVP and she is the LVP. So you agree with that?
Yeah, I think you gotta. It's just the format of the show, bro. All right, Strangers Pray at Night comes 10 years later. They missed the magical 3-year window. They missed all the windows. 10 years? No one gives a fuck anymore.
Yeah. I came across this movie late at night on Amazon Prime last year. Assumed it was some sort of sequel to The Strangers, and watched it on a whim.
You didn't even know this existed?
Nope. And you're the one, after I watched it and I rated it, you just sent me a text saying like, yeah, Strangers Pray at Night, baby.
It's mad good, yeah.
And I just didn't know anything about it.
Yeah, so Bertino, he's not back to direct. He's in there as a writer, and he co-writes it with this fella, Ben Kitai. And he's written for all of the top streaming services, Henry. He's created 2 shows for Crackle and 1 for Quibi. All right? So one of our finest and most well-respected writers.
That's great.
Mm-hmm. We have a new director here, a fellow who apparently did not want to do a sequel, but they talked him into it. And here he is, Johannes Roberts. You familiar with that guy?
Well, I saw 47 Meters Down, right?
Yeah,
That's the only thing, and that was good.
So he was a guy who was sort of bopping around the horror realm for a while, making like straight to video shit, and then he had sort of a breakthrough movie with this thing, The Other Side of the Door.
Yeah, that's popped up a lot on streaming services. It just didn't look that interesting.
No,
so.
it looks super boring, but it was like a breakthrough. I think it was like a January hit kind of a situation.
Oh, all right. Yeah, he's a Brit.
Oh, okay.
I didn't expect that.
I think I assumed
Johannes.
he was like French from his name.
Well, yeah, Johannes is like German, so I don't even know. Yeah. All right.
So he follows up with 47 Meters Down, a Mandy Moore shark film. And it's better than it has any right to be. Love 47 Meters Down. Definitely the second best modern shark flick after The Shallows, I would say. And then...
Yeah, good.
Yeah, he follows that up with Strangers Pray at Night, and then he did a 47 Meters Down sequel, Uncaged, which a lot of people didn't like, and I super don't fucking understand why, because it's just The Descent, but with sharks, and that's awesome.
Yeah, I didn't see it. Yeah.
His next film, do you know what he's doing now?
No.
He is the man responsible for rebooting one of our favorite franchises, Henry.
Oh, maybe I do know this, but I don't know what you're going to say.
His favorite film his next film coming out in December of this year is Resident Evil: Welcome to Raccoon City.
That's funny. I didn't know that. Okay.
Full on reboot. Huh. We're doing origin story. This takes place on the first night of the T virus infection. I can't fucking wait.
Necessary. Oh, okay.
Oh, it's going to be super unnecessary, but I'm pretty pumped for it.
Okay. All right.
I think what they're doing that approach where it's like, this one's more faithful to the games. We're not going to do all the interesting stuff that Paul W.S. Anderson did. We're going to do all the bullshit video game shit.
Yeah, of course.
All right.
For the fans.
For the fans, yeah. So that's next for Johannes. But on March 9th, 2018, this came out on a budget of $5 million. They even lowered the budget on them. It ended up doing all right. It made $32 million at the box office, which is good for the budget.
Sure.
Came in at number 97 at the box office for that year. Made slightly less than On the Basis of Sex. Do you remember what that movie is?
I do. I remember the movie title, and yeah.
Yeah. That was a film in which Felicity Jones was cast to play Ruth Bader Ginsburg, a Jewish woman from Brooklyn.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. Like
because no one gives a fuck about Jews. All right? Amidst all of this bullshit, all these woke gender politics, whatever you want to call them, no one will ever give a fuck about us.
Couldn't give that role to a Jewish actress, huh?
No. Felicity Jones might be the least Jewish person on the planet.
Oh, you said Felicity Huffman.
Oh, I didn't mean that. I meant Felicity Jones, the British actress from what the
right, yeah.
What's that movie? I Love Stephen Hawking.
Right,
I want to suck Stephen Hawking's cock.
And I appreciate you doing so, Felicity.
Take it deeper. Choke on it. All right. So it made slightly less than that movie, and it made slightly more than White Boy Rick, which was a movie I really liked. I was a defender of White Boy Rick. Henry's lost it. We're having a hard time recording this episode, gang, and I think we just had a breakthrough. Just like we popped.
Yeah, I don't care. I'm fucking it's so frustrating. And that was a good joke. Oh, okay.
Thanks,
yeah. Felicity Jones as RBG. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
I didn't know that, man. Fucking hell.
Yeah, it was annoying. It was annoying at the time, and it still is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not Jewish.
What was the one just this past week? Sarah Silverman was mad about something.
I don't know.
And it was something really annoying like that. Hang on, let me see if I can find it real quick.
Jesus, you could have had her play RBG. That would have been a unique thing.
Yeah, you really could. I mean, so Catherine Hahn was recently cast as Joan Rivers in a biopic about Joan Rivers.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, she is not a Jew at all. She just has a large nose and so looks kind of Jewish. And so she was put in, of course, that show, Transparent, the wokest show of all time. They cast that woman. Sorry, who was I just talking about?
I don't know.
Oh, Catherine Hahn. They cast Catherine Hahn to play a rabbi on that show.
You know, they do this shit all the time, and you're absolutely right about the Jewish thing, too, because, you know, in My Hero, Philip Roth, in fucking Human Stain, they cast Anthony Hopkins, okay? And
to play a black guy.
Right. A black guy posing as a Jewish man.
The Human Stain might be the single worst cast movie of all time. It's a trailer trash Florida mom played by Nicole Kidman falling in love with a black guy played by Anthony Hopkins.
She's the worst cast because she's just...
I would argue the black guy played by Anthony Hopkins is the worst cast.
Fair enough. Fair game. Fair game. Then when they did the American Pastoral, which I did not watch and won't, the main character is a Newark Jewish guy who's got this huge history in this amazing book, and they get Ewan McGregor.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
How about The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, one of the top shows in the world right now, is about a Jewish female comedian, a Jewish family, played by Rachel Brosnahan.
Perfect. How about when they do a bio of Philip Roth's life, let's get Tom Hardy to play him.
Yeah. I know. It's out of... and no one gives a fuck. Sarah Silverman came out in public in this, the liberalist year of all our days, and said, like, stop doing Jew face. And people on the internet were like, come on, it's Catherine Hahn, she's a gay guy. And it's like, what the fuck? You were just telling me Bryan Cranston can't play a guy who can't walk!
Yeah. It's very fucked up, and that's been going on for 100 years in movies. 100 years. Yeah, it's very strange to me.
I hate Hollywood so much. I hate rich people so much. I want to burn this planet down.
That's gonna happen, so don't worry. 2024.
I want to give up. Like, I wish I knew the world was ending in my lifetime, so I could just fuck off.
Yes. Snake Plissken could just pull that power switch, and we'd all be a lot better. Yeah, it's fucked.
Anyway, Escape from the Strangers. Let's talk about it.
Escape from the Strangers.
Let's talk about Strangers things. So, yeah, I really don't like that about this movie. It starts with this, like, awful...
Oh.
No, come on. It bothers me. The worst moment in this entire movie is the title card.
I know why you don't like it, and I actually am a huge hater of that kind of shit. But for some reason, I just dig the vibe of the movie, and it doesn't bother me in this context.
But it's so ever-present that when I went to watch this movie, I was like, in my head, I thought it was a period piece.
Yeah.
From the 80s. And so I was like, what is it, an origin story or something? And then when it started, it takes place 10 years after the first one. And so I'm like, what the fuck? Why are we just, like, it's just a bunch of kids listening to Kids in America.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. It didn't bother me, but I get it. I get it. It should bother me. It almost always does, that kind of thing. But I don't know. It didn't. Because I kind of like the usage of the music in the kill scenes.
No, of course, that stuff's great. I'm more complaining about the aesthetic of, like, the lettering and the score, mostly.
Yeah, the aesthetic of the lettering. Yeah, for sure.
So, there's sort of a cold open in this movie. We get to see the strangers just sort of successfully pound on this elderly couple, and that's pretty cool. And then we cut to our new family that we're gonna follow. It's a mom and daddy, and it's a teen daughter and an older teen son.
Both good actors, I think.
You think so?
I do.
I'll correct you on one of them.
You don't think the girl is good?
Very good. Did you guess correctly? Because at heart, you know she's not that good. You just think she's real cute.
No, I don't think she's that. No, she's a fucking teenager. No, I don't think she's that cute. I didn't think she. I liked her. I thought she was good. I just figured of the two, you would probably think that the guy was.
I don't think either of them are strong. But
I think they're. And I want to tell you a funny moment in the movie that I thought was awful, and just it so speaks to how sometimes when Hollywood, we've talked about this, like about people having sex in movies, about how sometimes they don't portray it accurately, and like when they're laughing and smiling.
Oh, I love that. Sex is so funny in movies.
It's fucking great.
It's such a fucking delightful time.
Yeah. This is one thing too that drives me fucking crazy. When they're getting into the car at the very beginning at their house, Christina Hendricks and
you are talking about my favorite moment in the movie, and I will sock you. Are you talking about the moment when they try to slap five and they miss?
Well, they do like a fist bump.
No. They do like one of these. It's like a lazy high five.
Yeah, but it's like a thing where they like go like they pull it off.
No, they don't. You missed it. They try and slap five and they miss slightly.
Well, it doesn't even matter.
I found
the
it
point
charming.
Is, couples don't have secret handshakes.
It's not a secret handshake. You misread this moment.
Maybe I read it as like, oh yeah, booyah, honey, we got, boom.
No,
yeah,
of course that is what it is, but I think it's just a spontaneous moment. I don't think it's like, all right, we got him in the car, let's do our handshake.
I totally thought that. Yeah.
Oh
so
my
you
God.
say it's a miss.
Yeah, I actually thought that they were supposed to just give each other a high five, and they missed, and he left it in the movie because it's a funny little spontaneous moment.
I didn't get that at all. I thought of it as like, I have never been in a relationship where I've had any kind of high five or
But every relationship has like ultra specific shit that you can't really explain to other people.
Correct, but that one just struck me so false. I don't know.
All right. Well, let's talk about these parents. We've got two of our finest television actors in this movie. Christina Hendricks is Cindy, the mom. And, of course, everybody knows her from her large breasts and her role as Joan on Mad Men.
Yeah, she's excellent. She's great.
Yeah, and also in recent years on Good Girls on NBC, recently canceled unceremoniously without wrapping up.
All right. And she's in Drive. People remember her in Drive.
Oh, yeah, that's true. She's good in that.
She is good in that.
Yeah. And she's in an episode of Firefly.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I just remembered it.
No, it's fine. I don't know. I wouldn't know. Henderson, I looked him up on Letterboxd. Apparently, I've seen him in like fucking 5 movies. The only one I remember him in is The Ring.
He's in The Ring?
Yeah.
I had no idea, man.
Killed. Yeah.
I know him from more recent years, I recently did go back and watch Torque.
Never saw it.
Torque. That's like,
I know it, but yeah.
It's like an Ice Cube motorcycle movie. It came out like right after Fast and Furious. And I was curious about it because Adam Scott plays the villain. But Martin Henderson was like one of the leads in the movie. It kind of blew my mind. But, of course, what I know him from, Henry. Did you notice when you were doing your research?
No, because I didn't really research. I just looked up what I'd seen him in on Letterboxd, so no.
Henry, after Patrick Dempsey's character McDreamy passed away on Grey's Anatomy, they needed a new hunk to replace him. So they brought in a new character by the name of Dr. Martin Riggs. Wait, maybe not Martin.
What?
What? Oh, wait, Martin Riggs is from Lethal Weapon, of course. No. What the hell was his name on Grey's? Nathan Riggs. Jesus. All right.
Okay.
Nathan Riggs, okay? And he was the first love interest to Meredith Grey after her husband tragically passed away at that shittier hospital. All right? And he was on the show for a couple years. He had fought in the Gulf War. This was his character's backstory. He'd fought in the Gulf War with Kevin McKidd's character from Trainspotting.
Of course.
And he had fallen in love with and married Kevin McKidd's sister, who passed away tragically. Okay? In war.
It's very compelling.
Okay? But then after a couple of years, they decided he wasn't really hitting it with the fans. So why don't we write him off the show? So what they ended up doing was they revealed that Kevin McKidd's sister didn't die in the Gulf War after all. She was just mysteriously missing, in a coma, amnesia. Don't even worry about it. She's played by Abigail Spencer from Rectify, Amantha.
Oh.
All right? And
yeah, good actress.
great actress. So he goes off and he's with her now.
Thanks for that. Interesting.
Yeah. So that's what I know him from. I'll tell you, on that show, he's doing a piss-poor American accent, and I actually think he does a better job in the Strangers movie.
When the movie was going, I was curious. I figured, I don't know why. It was when I was on Letterboxd. They give you the mini bio that they steal from Wiki. And it was said New Zealand, and I was like, oh, I didn't expect that. He looked 1,000% American to me, and acted. I didn't catch an accent at all. So,
here's a fun fact about the Strangers franchise, Henry. Both Martin Henderson and Scott Speedman, the two male leads of the Strangers franchise, have both hooked up with Meredith Grey, the main character on Grey's Anatomy.
Isn't that interesting? In real life?
No, on the show.
Oh, well, that's nice. So there's a through thread.
Maybe the casting director of Grey's Anatomy is like a big Strangers fan.
There you go. Well, I like Martin Henderson in
or
this
vice
movie.
versa.
I thought the actor... I liked all four of the actors in this movie. I thought they made a convincing family. I bought the dynamic.
All right. Well, let's talk about it. So they've got... The older son is this fellow, Lewis Pullman.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with him?
I don't know.
It's nepotism run wild, Henry. This is Bill Pullman's son.
I knew you were going to say that. Really?
Yep.
Huh.
And he seems, I would say, marginally talented.
He's good in this.
He's fine in this. You don't think they could have gotten... You don't think they could have found somewhere a better actor who actually needed an opportunity rather than putting Bill Pullman's fucking son in this movie?
Of course that would be great, but of course, having not known that at the time, I didn't care or didn't even think about it. I'm glad I didn't, actually.
Here's another interesting fact about the Strangers franchise that I just found out. Bill Pullman's wife, who's the mom of this kid, her name's Tamara Pullman.
Look at that.
Tamara. That's the name they always give.
That's weird.
I think that actually is a well-planned part of the Strangers shtick, because it's such a specific sounding name that it sounds like they're really looking for somebody.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that the through line is cool. How they maybe it's too much to some people, but I like that it's hearkening back to the first movie. When you get a lot of these sequels that are you don't get a lot that are 10 years after, and they just become reboots. I think they forget or they just try to ignore a lot of that old, like what happens in the first movie. But I like that they do the porch light thing. They do a little dialogue with the women. They ask for Tamara. I like that stuff. I thought that was cool. That they brought that back.
I agree. I like that there's continuity. I read that in the original script there was a cold open with Liv Tyler.
Well, I mean, supposedly she lives at the
Yeah,
end.
she lives at the end of the first one. Yeah, I guess I was wrong about that live dead joke.
Yeah, I guess.
And it wasn't a good joke.
I thought it was good. I just
It
didn't
was
feel right away.
fine, whatever. Anyway,
You're too hard, Lewis Pullman. You're too hard on yourself. You're too hard on your jokes. You're too hard on the girl.
let me play that part in Strangers Pray at Night. I deserve an opportunity more than Bill Pullman's son. He's got that ID4 money.
You have a 16-year-old sister.
Yeah, Bailey Madison. Let's talk about it. Her name's spelled in the most annoying way you could think of.
That
And
name, a lot of spellings, man. Yeah.
Bailey.
Oh, it's Bailey.
Yeah, Bailey Madison.
How she spell it?
Bailee.
Oh, you know,
Bailey.
I mean, that's stupid.
I agree.
Need a Y there. Come on.
Yeah, give me an
Why
EY.
not?
That's how you spell
Why
it.
not?
What?
Why not?
Oh, I get it. Good. He's so proud of that one.
Yeah.
Bailey Madison. All right, so these days, she's on a Hallmark show called
Good for her.
The Good Witch, where it looks like the lead of that show is Catherine Bell. She was the lead on Jag back in the day.
Sure.
Yeah. I was always like, when I would see her in magazines, I was like horny for her, and I'd be like, God damn it, I wish Jag wasn't so boring. I would love to watch her in a show.
All I ever think about, if I ever hear Jag, which I mostly in my life don't, is 20 years ago when Jiminy Glick interviewed Steve Martin.
Jesus.
And he asks him, he goes, "You share something in common with Catherine Bell. You have the same birthday." And Steve Martin's like, what? And he's like, "From Jag. Do you watch Jag?"
Hey, that's probably the funniest thing I've ever heard Jiminy Glick do.
That's the best thing Martin Short ever did, in my opinion.
I disagree with I'm not a Jiminy
I love
Glick
Jiminy
guy.
Glick. Oh, I was. I loved it.
I never liked Jiminy Glick, to the point where I was surprised on Curb Your Enthusiasm when there was that scene where Larry David is like getting Martin Short to do the Jiminy Glick voice. Because I was
remember that.
surprised that Larry David would respect that.
Oh, I think Jiminy Glick's hilarious.
All right.
Not that he needed a fucking movie.
I've seen that
but-
movie.
Oh, I bet it's fun.
Great time, great time. All right, so Bailey Madison, she's sort of just been around doing kids shit for her entire career and ended up backwards into this horror movie. I think she's not very... I think she's okay. She's not bad. She's not, like, distracting, but the performance belongs on television.
Well, I don't know, man. When I'm saying that they're good, I'm not saying that they're fucking Oscar worthy.
I'm just saying, I know a lot of... I watch teen shows. I know all the actors on this caliber. There are actors on fucking Pretty Little Liars that are better than this girl.
Right. I think I'm saying more closer to what you just said, which is when you said she's not distracting. And I think that's literally how desperate I am sometimes in these teen roles and even in horror movies with adult role. I'm like, she's not distracting. I'm good.
I know the talent that's out there, Henry. You don't. I've done my research.
Yeah. All right.
Although she is pretty good talent, if you know what I mean. Anyway, they get to this trailer home. It's sort of a vacation they're going on. They're sending the daughter away to, like, boarding school. She's apparently had a rough year. She's fallen into a bad crowd. You know she's dangerous because she's wearing a ripped-up Ramones shirt that she bought at Hot Topic. All right? And... and so they get there. It turns out their aunt and uncle was the couple that died at the beginning of the movie in the cold open, And
yes.
So they pull up. There's like a note for them, like, hey, use bungalow 47 or something. So they run over. They get in there. It's this tiny little trailer, but that's where they're going to stay for a little while. So they post up. They get a knock on the door from our old friend, Doll Lady. What do you call her?
They call her Dollface.
Right.
I thought
Dollface.
it was funny that they didn't think anything weird was amiss afoot when the note left by Uncle Marv and Aunt Cheryl was written in crayon. Did you catch that?
I actually didn't. I didn't notice that. So maybe I would have thought it was fine.
Yeah. So I think the note is left by.
No, the note is definitely, yeah. Later on, when they find that answering machine message, that's
right.
their answering machine message, and it's been listened to. I think you can assume that, like, the strangers came in randomly to kill the aunt and uncle, but then got a hold of the information that there's other people arriving, and they were like, hey, we got this fucking territory all to ourselves. Let's fucking kill some more.
Bonus. Yeah.
So most of the movie is just a bonus for the strangers. We don't even get to see their main plot much.
No, I mean, there isn't really a great plot. If you want to just talk about different moments,
We can do whatever you want, man.
Yeah.
So, right early on, Hendrix dies a half hour into this fucking thing.
Yeah, that was wild, and that was a fun moment because that was also like a moment where I'm looking at the characters and I am that guy, and I'm like, Christina, it's a girl with a fucking knife, man. She's like half the size of you. Fucking wrestler, fighter, do something.
Yeah, I always think about that, Like, I just watched that movie Knock Knock. Have you ever seen that?
Oh, but is that Keanu Reeves?
Yeah, it's Keanu in like a home invasion movie, and it's these two hot girls like fucking with him. And I always think like they have him tied up for a lot of the movie, but like he's not the whole movie. Like just punch them. Like
Right.
I know they're girls, like I know they're young women, but just punch them. They're
Try
in your
something.
home.
Try something. I mean, Liv Tyler, as I recall, tries to at least get a knife and try. I mean, I don't know. And
One of the girls is Ana de Armas. If Keanu Reeves punched Ana de Armas in the face, her skull would cave in.
Yeah, it's just funny because the strangers don't use guns, so they're always unarmed. I mean, they don't know this. The characters wouldn't know this, but this girl in this particular situation is just wielding a knife. I mean, it's 2 against 1. I don't know. Anyway, she kills Christina Hendricks. She gets the girl out through the skylight.
Yeah, they have that nice conversation right before that too, like sort of a mother-daughter, heart-to-heart. Yeah.
I like that. And
yeah, so Bailey Madison gets away. The son is over there with Riggs from Grey's, and Bailey Madison eventually finds, what is happening?
the parents send the brother off to talk to the daughter because she's upset, right? So that
they sneak into that house and have a couple of shots of whiskey.
They're about to, and then they see Uncle Marv in what's the grisliest moment in either of the movies. The most gore, at least, when you get a shot of Uncle Marv and like they've like cut their faces off and all that shit. I mean,
I kind of like that. Like when they're trying to explain the situation to their dad afterwards, the son, Bill Pullman's son, all he can bring himself to say is they're all cut up. Like there's something like, you'd be traumatized in that moment. You'd have trouble like conveying what you're actually going through. I like
hysterical.
that.
Yeah, he's just hysterical. And so then the son and the father go to the trailer, tell the daughter and the mother go back to their trailer, and then that's how it all.
I like the moment where the dad finds Christina Hendricks dead and then immediately goes about trying to shield her corpse from the kids. Like that's nice. He just like goes immediately into dad mode in that moment. I like that.
He does, because then he's like immediately like, we got to save your sister.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he loads it. He loads a gun. All these white people. It's lucky that their relatives all carry guns in their trailer homes.
Yeah, I know. He goes like, I remember from growing up or whatever. There's a gun around here, and he's able to find it really easily.
Fucking wasps.
Yeah. So, I mean, the centerpiece of the movie is obviously when the son runs into a few of them by the pool, right?
That's amazing.
That
I think
scene
that-
is awesome.
Wow.
Even
I mean,
like the bad reviews of this movie were like, bad movie, but hey, that scene was cool.
that scene, the lighting, the atmosphere, the music, it's great.
What's the song
Yeah.
they use in that scene?
Total Eclipse of the Heart.
Yeah, which is great. Bonnie Tyler. I sung that song in music class as a kid. It was fucked up. We had this music class.
You sang that?
Yeah. In elementary school, there was a music class that we had to go to a couple times a week. And it was a horrible, like, if this was the class that was supposed to teach you appreciation for music, like, I don't understand what we're doing. It was Long Island. It was the 90s.
Sure.
And, you know, we had this teacher, Miss Blyskell, who was, she had recently gotten married to a janitor. And we also knew that she had fucked the gym teacher at some point. So she would pick songs for us to just sing. Like, that was music class. She would, like, play a backing track or get on the piano, and then we would sing along to these songs. And they were the worst songs. They were all, like a couple of them were, like, Beatles songs or whatever, like, old standard rock songs. And then, but they were mostly just, like, recent songs that she liked. So it was, like, Total Eclipse of the Heart was one of them.
But that's from the 80s.
No,
What the
but
fuck?
that's like she looked like she was from the 80s. Like she peaked
Yeah,
in
yeah.
the 80s and like
sure.
these were her favorite songs. So we did
Okay.
Total Eclipse of the Heart. I remember we did We Didn't Start the Fire. And like other like I think we did La Isla Bonita by Madonna.
Nice.
And then
Wow.
she also taught us how to play the recorder. And
Every kid has to learn how to play the fucking recorder.
I know.
Pointless. Yeah.
It's just to teach you the musical notes, I guess. But it's every good boy does fine, FACE, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
Well done. Yeah.
So anyway, that's how I knew the song.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, that scene's great. It's also very satisfying because, quite honestly, I needed, at this point, 2 movies in, I really think that one of the bad guys has to get it. I mean, it needs to happen.
I agree, but I was surprised that they went all out and just fucking killed them all. Like, I mean, are they just deciding, like, let's only do one sequel?
Well, of course, we don't know at the end of the movie who's knocking on the hospital door. Is it the man? I mean,
All that is like an opening, though. Like, if this does well and we want to make a third one, let's do it. But, like, you can take that to just be nothing and they're traumatized and any knock on the door is going to scare them.
Correct, but I think that the neat part of the movie is that you don't need
Were they going to knock out all the lights in the hospital, Henry?
I don't know how. Well, Michael Myers can do it in Halloween too. I guess anyone could.
Hey, that was a meagerly filled hospital at best.
It's true. But that's the thing about these movies is that while we're given to believe that 10 years elapsed and it's the same 3 people, the strangers, they could do anything with this. They could make it like it's part of a cult. There's 3 more strangers. You could continue this on.
They
Doesn't
should.
have to.
I don't understand why there aren't. It like Strangers 1 came out in 2008. All right.
Yeah.
It's a great new horror concept.
Yeah, it
if The Strangers came out in 1982, there'd be 17 Strangers movies.
You're completely right. Yeah.
It's great. It's just 3 people in masks killing. Going to a random house, kill it. You could do it a million times. The one I mentioned, Church, do that. You can have them show up anywhere. It's just 3 crazies in masks showing up at a place, killing people. All right?
Yeah.
There should be at least 6 of these by now.
We don't often say that on this show, but yes, there should be more.
Honestly, yeah. Listen, some franchises that should only be 1 movie, they extend past their natural endpoint. Here's a movie that finally makes for a natural franchise, and you make 2 of them?
You don't see the forest for the trees. You know.
Fucking Universal needs to get their heads out of their asses. If this property was owned by Disney, are you kidding me?
Yeah, they'd be doing it. Maybe Blumhouse can get a hold of it or some shit. Who knows,
It would
man?
need to be. You need somebody who
Yeah.
knows how to market, and it ain't fucking Universal these days.
No, no, the MonsterVerse.
Yeah, right. They were like, you know what? Fuck strangers. What we got to do is create the dark universe. Let's work on that.
Yeah. So the pool scene's cool because the kid kills the brunette killer,
The hot one, as far as I'm concerned.
yeah, right. I agree. You can't even see her face, but sure. And it's interesting because it also gives a dynamic, like if they have emotions, because like they don't really tell you, but like when he yells at the guy and he's like, "How's that fucking feel?" You know, I took one of yours. It does seem like the man is angrier. Like he comes quicker with the axe. He's like really relentless. So I think it did piss him off.
Definitely.
And they go into the water, and that's well shot.
And then she kills little baby too, because there's that great scene where she's sort of hiding out, and then all of a sudden a cop shows up. She's called the cops, and
that's great.
And then he just pops up like, "Hey, what's the trouble?" And she's like, "There's murderers here." And like before she can even get her, it's nobody's fault. Like the cop's not even acting dumb here. Like it's just like right the second he shows up, someone sidles up behind him and slits his throat. So she very smartly, you know, which you don't always see in movies like this, grabs his fucking gun and gets in his car, and then
it's in his car and dislodges his shotgun from its holder.
Oh, that's right. Good call. Yeah.
Yeah, and
I literally watched this morning, and I'm getting details wrong.
Yeah, it's quite all right. And she blows her away, and then she asks.
I love that shot that's my favorite death in the movie. I think just like the force of that shotgun barrel through that little woman.
Yeah, she like flies like 5 feet over, further
out of the car.
Yeah, and then she asks her like, "Why are you doing this?" She goes, "Why not?" You know,
and that's this movie's version of. What's the line? "Why are you doing this to us? Because you were home."
Yeah. And so then, you know, I will say that the masked man's repeated deaths were a little unnecessary, because then it's like a little bit into like Friday the 13th, Michael Myers.
Yeah, that guy. Well, I mean, he's sort of Baghead Jason, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, basically. I mean, I think the scene also, I thought, with Martin Henderson dying in the car was great, too. I thought that was a really good scene.
Henderson's good in that scene.
Yeah,
that's the scene I decided I think he's the MVP of the movie.
He's very, very good in that scene with his son, like telling him just to get out of there and take the gun. And by the way, that gun is never accounted for. The son is running around with the revolver, and then he has a chance to shoot the blonde, and I love the sister's reaction. She's like, "Fucking shoot her!" And he's like hesitating, and he doesn't do it.
But you know what? That's set up earlier in the movie. There's a great moment earlier in the movie that I think about a lot watching movies, where when the dad's like starting to put the gun together, he goes like, what are you gonna do with that gun? Are you gonna shoot somebody?
He does say
just
that.
Like the idea of using a gun to shoot somebody is so alien and insane to this suburban kid, and I feel the same way
too. I mean, it's alien and crazy to me as well. But being put in a situation like that, you would think the son's already seen his mother dead. I mean, they're clearly in mortal danger. But yeah, it's a good touch. You're right. He does say that, so it's not surprising. It is set up.
Yeah.
But the gun just kind of disappears when him and his sister are running around. He has it, and then he loses it. They don't explain that. But
he's clearly better hand-to-hand, and Bailey Madison is the gunman of the family.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. She's, so he kills the kid. The son kills one. The girl kills one. Well, no, and then she kills both. She kills the man. She lights him on fire. Good death.
Well, he's driving in that Jeep on fire, or the pickup truck, or whatever it is.
That's kind of cool. But like once he falls dead on the bridge,
yeah,
I'm good.
Yeah.
And then he chases her on the.
Yeah, you're right. They should, after the bridge. I wouldn't mind if it goes to the hospital from there.
Right.
Yeah.
Like. It's enough, but, you know, I'm not going to fault it. I think it's an awesome, tight movie.
It's a solid sequel. I think it's proof that sequels to The Strangers are a good idea.
And I like it better than the first one.
I thought I was going to come in and say that today. I thought that was going to be my take. If you asked me yesterday, I probably would have said I like it more than the first one. I do think the first one's a slightly better movie. I just think it's a better movie. The second one might be more fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I recommend both. I give this one a 3 as well.
Oh boy. All right. I'm giving this a 4. 2 4s.
I'm going to go with MVP, my man Riggs from Grey's Anatomy.
Just to be different, I'll go, although I do think he's probably the MVP. I'm going to go with Christina Hendricks. I think the little screen time she has is good, and the time with her daughter out by the car is good, and I think she's good in the movie.
I think it's important to have a good actor in that role. Like, the film could easily, especially with only a $5 million budget, have looked at the script, seen that this woman dies, I think, like 29 minutes in or something.
Right.
And we're just like, well, we'll get a name for the husband, and then we can get, like, some TV actress for, like, it's fine. But, like, Christina Hendricks, she's an Emmy, possibly winning actor? I think Emmy winning actor. And, like, she's better than this movie probably deserves. And I think she comes in and really nails it for 30 minutes. It's important to have her there in that opening.
I agree. And obviously your LVP is Bailey.
Yeah, pick or choose either of those two fuckers.
I mean, I didn't really think there was a least valuable player in this movie. Are there any other characters?
You go with the cop or the uncle and aunt, or I don't know.
Nah, I mean they're all fine. I mean, I don't know. Let's get. Yeah, you know what? I will give it to the cop.
Oh, okay. The cop getting the LVP.
That's an unrealistic thing, because when you call the cops, 50 show up, and that always happens in movies where it's a lone cop. It's like,
where is this? This might have been like a tiny little.
Man, Ohio. It said.
So this is your. By the way, your LVP is a fellow by the name of Preston Sadler. Poor guy.
Yeah, nothing wrong with him. He's totally fine.
He's gonna be Sadler tonight.
I don't want to pick the kids. They're good in a movie.
He hasn't really been in anything else. I think you're okay with this guy.
He's William Sadler's brother.
No, it's spelled different.
Okay.
All right. Great stuff.
So you pick. The order goes for you. They're different. For us. You go 1-2. I go 2-1.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't differ that often on a 2-movie franchise, but I think that just goes to the quality of the films. I don't think you're making a weird decision or anything. Like,
neither do I, nor you. Yeah.
Cool.